informing people. Like I have learned a lot on TikTok, and that sounds so weird to say. Like if you say that to like the older generation, I learned a lot on TikTok, they'll be like, yeah, you need to get out.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Rich here. Thanks for tuning in to the TwoSix10 Podcast, where me and the boys talk about how you can use content the right way to grow and scale your business. If you find this episode useful, then please share with a fellow entrepreneur, marketer, founder, or anyone else who might also get some value from it, and let's all grow together. With that said, let's jump straight into it. All right, so how important is it, do you think, for content creators to understand and use different platforms for their content creation?
Yeah, massively important. I feel like the amount of social media platforms we have now, you've got different audiences spread across them. I know many people that don't use TikTok still, which to me blows my mind, but obviously people are all different. But yeah, you can have such a different audience across all those different platforms. Like, for example, I don't use Facebook really anymore. I don't think a lot of younger people, I should say, use it. But I do know that the older sort of generation still use it, and there are still loads of people that use it to connect, but more so like an older generation that use it. So if you're trying to sell towards like an older generation, Facebook's probably a great place to start in that sense. Whereas like TikTok, you could probably approach the more younger generation. And I don't want to like get the message wrong here where I'm saying, well, if you're old, you can't be using TikTok. If you're young, you shouldn't be on Facebook. But like I said, it just is a wider audience spread across multiple platforms. So I think it's really important to understand that you should be using all these different platforms, especially if you've got a wide audience that you're like trying to attract, basically.
For sure. And I think there was a huge case, like, and I used to be the one here to shout about this as well. Like, I think there was a time 4 years ago where it was just like, only like choose one and put everything into that. And I think that's still the case in a kind of way. But the thing was before is like, Instagram was just photos, right? YouTube was long form video and TikTok was short form video. This was before YouTube Shorts, TikTok Reels, Instagram Reels, and TikTok like really came into fruition, where it was like more than just dance moves, and Twitter was just written content, and Facebook was like just full of ads, right? There was a time in the internet that was the case, and LinkedIn was just for connecting with other people. Whereas now it's like YouTube is still known for long form content. Instagram, you've got photo, but most of the people now use it. Actually, studies have shown for Reels. And TikTok is much more, again, SEO based, search based content. That's at least where it's going. And Twitter now, Elon Musk has introduced video format. So essentially what you can do is you can have 2 pillars of content, long form, and then turn that or just 1 pillar of content, to be fair, long form content, and you chop that up into short form content. And that then can go out on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, all of these places. And then if you want, especially with the use of AI, you can then take that and transcribe it, run it through whatever AI software you want to run it through, and then ultimately you've got some written content alongside it to go out on LinkedIn, whatever. You can even turn that then into like a picture for Instagram. But ultimately, like, again, there was a time where it was like, just use one platform, like focus all your attention, because it takes too much time and it's too much focus to be able to try and crack the code of multiple, to be able to try and, oh yeah, well, we're going to make loads of long form content, then we've got to come up with trending ideas for TikTok, and then we've got to come up with tweet threads for Twitter, then we've got to come up with photos and carousels for Instagram, and then we've still got to be active in LinkedIn. It was too much. So I used to always say to people, focus on one thing, the thing that you can budget for, the thing that you can, you've got most knowledge in, and think about where you can spend most of your time. That one thing, whether that's long form, whether that's TikTok, whatever, trending stuff, Instagram, carousels, whatever the case was, focus on that, do that over and over and over again until you've cracked it, and then start another one and push people towards that other thing, and then start to sort of like disperse your sort of like content creation output, but focus on one, get big on one. But whereas now, like you say, you've got all of these places where you can just make one thing, turn it into multiple, put it on multiple, and there's no reason not to. Like, there's no downside to doing that. It doesn't make sense to me why, even now I see it, like people, oh yeah, I made like a long form YouTube video, or I've made a short, I made a TikTok. I'm a brand or I'm a person, and it's only on TikTok. It's like, dude, like YouTube Shorts is there, Instagram Reels is there, Twitter's there, LinkedIn is there, like all of these, Facebook, again, like you say, is still there. And it blows my mind as to why that's for the sake of 10 minutes to go and post them on the other platforms. Come on, like, just a little bit of effort.
I feel like one thing just to ask you really what your opinion is, because I know what my opinion is about creating content that is different to go on each platform, rather than, for example, we edit videos, like we always edit like a set amount for a client, for example. That set amount will be spread across like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and it'll be like the same video. What's your like views or opinions on creating like multiple different kind of contents to go on each platform? Because I feel like a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll create a video, for example, that will be the same on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. And for example, my thoughts to this is, if you're a follower of this person and you follow on all three platforms, and then, for example, you've seen the video on Instagram and then you go on TikTok later and you're like, oh, I've seen this, you've just lost a view. I don't know, what's your thoughts on that?
I think I didn't realize I was to have thoughts on this, I'll be honest. Like, I just thought it was just like an assumption that I've made, is just like, you might as well, you've got that content. It's interesting angle that you've thought about there as to how that could be a negative. I've never actually thought about it in that way, which is interesting. That said, I would ask the chances of, like, you would have to be following a very little amount of people, I guess, to be showing that same video on multiple platforms. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. But I don't see it as a negative. I mean, I see your point as a negative, and I see how that could be portrayed as a negative, but I don't think over the long game, like if you really want to become big, like we're talking in the hundreds of thousands, millions of followers, for that handful of people to see that video and skip. Like if you're making good content, it's going to go out to the masses anyway. It's going to go out to people who aren't following you, who aren't going to see it on other platforms. And it just makes more sense to me that you've got the content there, just post it on all the other platforms. And to be honest with you, if you want to then, to answer your question, if you want to make multiple versions or make different stuff for each platform, do that. Make a tailor-made video for Twitter, for Instagram, for YouTube Shorts, for TikTok, tailor-made to that, and then have a generic one, like, we were talking, it goes out in all of them, and then have a tailor-made for each one. We're talking, you're going to have a lot of time and budget for that. But ultimately, I don't see it being a negative. I really don't. I see just pumping out the content. We've seen it through the years with how many successful people, not just posting once a day, they're posting 3, 4, 5 times a day. So if you can find a way to do that and still have quality content, then that's definitely going to be the winning formula.
Yeah. I think it's just good to use all the platforms anyway. I just feel like if you're limited to one, I mean, some people, they will just refuse to learn about like TikTok and the TikTok algorithms, or
but you don't even have to learn about it. That's the thing. Like, you don't have to be so.
I think that's one of the things that people get lost in as a business or a brand, is that they'll be like, oh no, but we post on Instagram, so we don't need to post on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Well, you should, because like there's a lot of people on TikTok that are not using Instagram anymore, or there's a lot of people using YouTube because they find TikTok's not as good as YouTube. So you need to like spread across all platforms.
You can essentially quadruple your reach, just from the sake of, like, everyone wants more reach, everyone wants to reach more people, everyone wants more views, everyone wants more engagement. You can do that simply by, like you say, taking that same video and just posting it across multiple platforms as opposed to just one, because some people might not even be on that platform that you're posting to. And so it doesn't make sense. But it's like you say, I think there is a stigma attached still to TikTok. And we're talking about brands with their names before in the last podcast. Like, they brought it out to be very much like a dance and reaction type video. And what they did in a way, they sort of tarnished their brand. even though they're a super successful brand, and it seems wild for me to even say that, but what they did is they segregated a large part of the sort of like human race, I guess, the older sort of like people, a bit, maybe people who might feel that they're above watching people dance around and act silly and think they should probably go and get a real job, whatever. They segregated a lot of those people straight from the get-go. Like, so even now that they've evolved into much more of a SEO based thing, and you can find a lot of stuff on TikTok now that isn't just dancing, of course. Like, I can't remember. I don't consume a lot of TikTok, I'll be honest. I don't really have the time, but I can't remember the last time I seen a dance on TikTok. So my point here is, like, they've very much evolved away from that, but they've still got that stigma attached, and there's still a huge part of the population that, as business owners, founders, CEOs, whatever the case is, they would be like, I'm not posting to TikTok because I don't watch it. I don't look at that because I don't want dancing. How would this make sense? You know?
I think it's really important just to stay in the trend, I guess you can say. Like, if a new platform's to come out tomorrow, everyone will eventually just jump onto it. Same as when TikTok emerged, like, everyone jumped onto it. So if a new platform was to come out of nowhere tomorrow, like, I would recommend as a business or a brand that you jump onto it, because you want to stay, like, as much as I'm against the whole trendy stuff, and I am, but as well, you're then using that platform to your ability. And I think TikTok is starting to, so obviously they used to be 60-second videos. I think that was how it's, like, just 60 seconds. And then now you can do like minutes on end. Like, I think I heard something about that they was extending to 10 minutes soon. So they've gone from like what we were saying, a short form content app where you put on like silly dances and little trends, to informing people. Like, I have learned a lot on TikTok, and that sounds so weird to say. Like, if you say that to like the older generation, I learned a lot on TikTok, they're like, yeah, you need to get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. Like, there's so many businesses and brands, kind of like the ones that we work with as well, that will post stuff on TikTok, and obviously it's expanding and it's changing constantly every single day, like TikTok. So yeah, I think it's important just to stay into like all the kind of new apps or new ways that you could platform your content.
Yeah. With that said, though, I do think that there is one thing that they should still have as their focal point. Just because of like time constraints, you know, like, I think if you're a business product, especially, you know, you might be thinking about like where to sell stuff or whatever. I think it's, you know, to manage the store on certain things and stuff, I think it is important to sort of study what platform's going to work best for you, i.e. where's your target market, where's your target audience hanging out.
Yeah.
Really, that's where it should come down to. It shouldn't be like what you prefer, you know. Oh, I don't like TikTok because it's dancing. I don't like Twitter because I never use it. It's negative news. That's all I seem to see. Like, whatever or I don't like Instagram because it's all people flexing about how much money they have. Regardless of any of that shit that you might think about each platform, just literally just think, right, what's my target market? What's my target audience? Who am I trying to reach with my content? And where are they hanging out for the most part? So you can do that in terms of location, in terms of age, demographic, whatever the case is, like whatever demographic you're looking to hit there, you can pretty much work out with a few searches on Google. It's not hard to work out where they're hanging out for the most part. And then from there, that's where you should really be focusing your time. And look, sometimes that doesn't work out that way. Sometimes another platform will blow you away. Sometimes you'll be like, TikTok's going to be number 1 for me, Twitter's going to be number 4. You start posting within a year, Twitter's number 4 and TikTok's number 1. Sorry, the reverse. Twitter's number 1 and TikTok's number 4. So yeah, like, I think it's important to just be, I think the overall thing here is just be open-minded, you know, be open-minded to change, like be open-minded to, like, I've never been involved in blog writing in my life. I've never seen the value of it, I'll be honest. I see the value of it, I'm not ignorant, but anything that I've ever looked up, I always consume and learn most through video as opposed to reading. Always been the way in my life. I want instant stuff. I don't want to take time because I'm always busy. But like, for that reason, I've always never really thought of blogs like as a way to reach people. But we've started putting blogs out there because I know that like is the case or isn't the case for many other people. They would like to do the opposite of what my thoughts are. So I think as a business, yeah, you've just got to stop doing it for yourself, stop thinking about yourself and where your preferences lie, and just be more open-minded and really try to think about where, again, your audience sits.
Yeah, definitely. So what would be like your main points for a content creator in choosing the right platform for their content and target audience?
Yeah, I mean, just like posting to all would be my main point straight away. Like, make sure you post to each and every single one, and be consistent, from there as well. And just like review. So start by, again, going back to what we've said, in the past, but identify your target market, find out where they hang out, then think about the pillars of content that you're going to use to attract your targets inside those platforms, put out the content, and then keep putting out the content for a long period of time. And within that period of time, whether that be every month, whether that be every quarter, whether that be every half a year, whatever the case is, like, just monitor the results and look at how things are performing. And then from there you can pivot, from there you can make adjustments. And all the while you're constantly keeping up with things that are going on around you, i.e. from the platforms themselves, what changes are making. Like you mentioned there, TikTok going from, I think it even started at 30 seconds, if I can't remember, if I don't remember that correctly.
I think that is right.
So keep up to date in that and think about how you can utilize that, because there's a huge thing said here, and this is like a bit of like extra value for anyone we weren't planning on talking about. But if you're still listening to this point, TikTok going up. So every platform is based upon their algorithms. People say whatever about the algorithms, but for the most part, 99% of the time, their algorithms are based on view time, retention, watch time, whatever you want to call it. And so the longer because they want you on the app, right? Like, that's how it works. If you're on their, like, they want to keep you on their app for a sustained period of time so they can get money from that. That's how they earn their money, through ads, etc. So it's well within their best interest to show you the best videos, the videos that are receiving the most amount of watch time, views, etc. So something to consider here, something to think about, if and when these platforms, i.e. TikTok and Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, when they enhance and when they make their video section longer, when you can physically upload longer videos, you should be straight away on that, because the longer you can get people to stay on your video for, the more it's going to be shown to people. Now, look, it has to be a good video in order for people to do that in the first place, because then your watch time, if you think about it, a 2-second video, someone stays on it for 1 second, that's deemed shocking. But that's 50% retention rate, right? Like, that's 50%. Whereas if it was a 10-minute video, you stayed on for 1 second, like, do the math. But the point here that I'm making is, if you've got a decent video, you can upload 10 minutes. Go ahead and start doing that as soon as you possibly can, because ultimately it's going to get your retention up straight away, and it's going to help you hopefully drive some views. And the thing is, you're breaking the algorithm, in my mind anyway. I think that would work. I don't know your thoughts on that, but like, I think if every other person is getting, like, on average 1 minute, say YouTube Shorts right now, maximum is 1 minute. Say everyone's getting like maximum or average is 30 seconds, right? Let's just say on average. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you uploaded a 3-minute short, brand new, the week that it came out, and you're averaging a 2-minute retention rate. Like, you're so much above the average view rate. The algorithm's just going to be like, oh my God, it's an amazing video, post it to everyone. So something
I think don't like limit yourself to the most popular platforms, because obviously TikTok is the big thing right now. But don't just limit yourself to that. I mean, if they're bringing out new features, like for what I was saying a minute ago, they might be releasing like 10-minute like time now. Obviously, if you want to start doing long form content and that's the popular one, then yeah, sure, try it. But I mean, we use LinkedIn. Never used LinkedIn in my life. Never been on there. I've only ever heard of it. I thought it was a myth. But like a lot of businesses use it. Obviously, I've looked into it a bit more now, and I've learned that a lot of businesses use it, and it is quite a good app for businesses. So yeah, just don't look at like the most like popular platforms. Look at something that like niches to your suited business or brand, and obviously the target audience. But as well, like another thing I wanted to make a point here is just if I keep relating to this, but if you're a clothing brand, for example, like look at like the competition, like see what platforms that they're using, like research is like a big thing in building your brand, because obviously researching is key to having a successful brand. Like you've got a lot to set up, like research, creativity, like you've got to experiment things. But yeah, I think just see what your competition's using. If they're spread across a platform that you never heard across, maybe try it. Maybe they're bringing in an audience that TikTok isn't.